orange flags around it, buddy. Open the door. Hey, keep it down in here. Then close the door again.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm sorry this video has taken so long for it to come out. Things have been super busy over here at the Peaks warehouse. We've been doing a bunch of stuff and going to a bunch of events, and it's just been crazy. So finally the video's here. The 2021 Western Hunting Summit recap. So starting off, basically it was my first year going to the Western Hunting Summit. This was the third year that it was going on. So much knowledge was gathered, so many connections were made with so many awesome people. It was just, overall, it was a great experience all 3 weekends that I went. So starting off with the first weekend, me and my dad showed up a couple hours early so that we could set up our Peaks canopy and kind of the Peaks section. And everyone who registered in the pre-sale got poles and gaiters, so we were kind of handing those out to those people as they started flowing in. And kind of last minute, something that we decided to do was to build an axe throwing target, so people had something to do kind of at night when they were kind of settling down, or right when they were showing up. We were giving out some prizes to people if they could stick an axe on their first try or first 3 tries or stuff like that. So it was super fun. Everything was super like live right when people were showing up, and people were meeting each other, and it was awesome. So each weekend my dad and I were only able to stay for a couple days because we just had to get back to the warehouse and get some other stuff done. But Thursday morning, the group that I was in, we started off with a medical lesson from Dr. Corey Tanglestad, who is an expert in backcountry and mountain first aid and medicine. And basically what he was teaching us first was, he went through a slideshow basically on just what you'll need in the backcountry and how to deal with certain situations, and what types of injuries you treat this way and what types of injuries you treat that way. And it was super helpful to kind of just get a basic knowledge down before he kind of went into deeper things.
Time frame, assessing a wound, and understanding whether or not this is something we can continue our trip with and manage on the trip, or is this something that needs to be life flighted out? Do we need to get back to the trailhead, or do we need to get these people to a hospital? Because face it, everything that we do in first aid is to support these 2 functions of the body. So what is this? Air goes in and out, blood goes running around, and any disruption of that process is a problem, okay? So I think of it as a bunch of boxcars on a big train running around a huge bunch of tracks, okay? Let the water run out and be back in 5 or 10 minutes. 5 or 10 minutes, what? I mean, you're gonna ignore me for that long? I actually had a guy complain about that. That's just gonna take me. I didn't do a good enough job explaining to him that large quantities are the ticket. Dilution's the solution of pollution, okay? So if you have as much drinking quality water as you can muster, that's what you use. So on this ranch, anybody gets hurt, we've got water flowing there, and I don't think we can use it up, okay? So I'm gonna make it drinking quality. I'm not just gonna tell you to go jump in the river, okay, because the cows are pooping upstream, right? But what we're gonna do is take that water, we're gonna filter however we make it drinking quality, or we're gonna put some, whatever water treatment you like, your tablets, your filter, your UV, whatever would make it safe for you to drink, we're gonna get that one. That often goes through people's minds is, oh crap, now what? It's that initial panic, if you will. How do I handle this? Am I capable of handling this? And just stopping and settling down, slowing down, being in that moment, and really just stepping back and saying, what do I really need to do right now? And then we'll plan a plan. Is really.
After he gave us a basic knowledge of some basic stuff while doing first aid in the backcountry, he took us outside and he was able to show us different ways to deal with certain injuries and some different splints that you can make for an injured leg or an injured arm. And then after that, everyone had a piece of meat that was in a trash can, in a trash bag, and what you had to do was clean out the injury. And he taught us different ways of doing that. Super helpful guy, very knowledgeable on what you should do in the backcountry if you come across something that requires first aid. And that's something that all of us should be able to know while we're in the mountains, because anything can happen at any point. So he was super helpful with what he taught us.
Medics to carry. And he's playing with a gum wrapper, and he's like, well, those are pretty floppy, but if I bend them and put a little kink in them, they get a little stiff, you know? So maybe that'd be good for splinting. So, you know, if I got a guy who's got an arm injury here, I can wrap this splint up like so, and maybe give him some support, right? So that's why you carry SAM splints. But, oh, by the way, they make a real nice bowl, right? So you can roll them up like so. Again, put a little kink in them in a different little trajectory. And then you take your garbage sack that you've got, and make yourself a little irrigation sink. Yeah. Yep. Sure. You can. So it's like.
Oh yeah, they're right there.
You know, it's like this. If you think irrigation's the least invasive, then it's brushing, then it's grabbing. So that's the way I go. Wash, brush, grab it.
Ooh, that's a damn. That must be a mechanical rod right there.
Yeah.
I didn't pad it. It's cinched down as tight as I can get it. I'm going to have to tie a windlass of some kind in it. Okay. Cinch that down, and now I'm going to go cranking on it. Okay. You feeling that? Is it starting to tighten up? Yeah, it's cool. And then you got to tie this back on itself. Okay. So it doesn't unravel. You could also.
And after Dr. Tanglestad was finished kind of helping us out with first aid and teaching us some new things, it was kind of the middle of the day, around noonish by then, so we had lunch in the cabin, which the cabin was amazing. Really the whole place was the perfect spot to have this hunting summit. It was so gorgeous up there, and the mountains were amazing, and just the whole ranch was just awesome. So we had lunch in the middle of the cabin, and then after lunch was time for Joel Turner. And I don't know if you guys know who Joel Turner is, but he is a shot IQ and precision expert. So I'm gonna roll some clips of Joel Turner teaching us and kind of just let you guys watch for a second. But he's another guy who's super knowledgeable and helped out a lot of us up there at the hunting summit. So
There. I was the lead firearm instructor for Washington State between 2009 and 2012, and between those years is when I developed the entire process of the shooting system called control process shooting. And this system is based on, number one, common sense, number two, science, and number three, experience. Okay? So walk me through, because we've all had a shot that we have rushed. Can everybody say that? That you've had a shot that you've rushed? When was the last time you rushed a shot?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. So it's burned into your brain, oh, I rushed a shot, but maybe don't know why you did. Okay, so walk us through it.
Deer jumped up out of its bed right in front of me. It ran about 10 yards and stopped, and I was gonna shoot then. Decided to haul ass again. I went ahead and shot anyway instead of waiting for it to stop one more
So
time.
you shot on the run.
Yep.
Okay. Has anybody here been trained to time it? So you press the trigger when the crosshair's on the X or right behind the shoulder. Anybody been trained to do that? Everybody in the military has been trained to do that. Everybody, literally. Because has anybody in the military here? Sideways figure eight. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh.
They say that your sight moves in a sideways figure eight, and when it's coming down in, you increase the pressure on the trigger, and then they should break when they come together, right? That is absolutely impossible mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Here we go. So take your pen, put the little writing tip out, hold it out at full extension with one hand, and put it on the green dot. Put it up, so it's up, straight up. So you can see the tip of it. Like the front side on a pistol, put the riding tip up. It's very fine. You see it moving? Yes. You notice that no matter which way it moves, its next movement is always back to the center? Yes. You see that? That is called visual proprioception. It's the way that our mind works. When we get feedback that something moves out of center, our mind will automatically bring it back to the center. Same way you drive. When you're driving down the road, you got a yellow line and a white line. And you get visual feedback, your vehicle's veering slightly to the left, you automatically correct. Give me a front sight. Keep the front sight on the fish head. What I'm going to do with Mike is I'm going to tap his hands, okay? I want you to keep that front sight on the fish head. Ready? Ready. Keep it on. Good. That's looking, Mike's pretty steady, right? Oh, what just happened? Did you see it? Have a seat, bud. Thank you. Notice the first time I hit him, went back on his heels, it was very soft when I hit him, right? Because his body didn't know exactly what to do yet. It took one hit for Mike's body to formulate pre-ignition movements. That's the blue line, that line right there.
Yeah, I
Sounds like a DUI stop order.
That's right.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
Let's try that again. Do it again.
Yeah.
Do I even need to look at this thing? Oh boy.
Yeah, do it again. Okay.
Oh, buddy. Bottom of your D and the top of your N. Do it again. Better. So blown out. What? I know.
This is worse than my first one. I did the first one slow.
A little better in the end.
So after Joel got done teaching us a lot of the things that he knows about shot IQ and teaching us how to have a more precise shot, it was time to go out and shoot the rifle course. So it was about a 3 to 4 mile hike up and down, and it was super fun. We had shots at about 150 yards, 200 yards. I think there was a 300, a 450, and a 600 yard shot that we shot, and that was super fun, just hiking around with a lot of the people and shooting at those targets. So I'll let some of those clips play as well. It was pretty windy, so there's probably some wind in these clips, but you'll be able to watch and you'll be able to hear, you know, all the shots, obviously. So
got one with a trigger guard, and usually they got a sling swivel or some kind of stud up here for your bipod or whatever. If you got your bipod on there, that's cool. But if we're going to shoot on this pack, you have to basically keep the pack between the stud here and your trigger guard, and you don't want the recoil to come in. You don't want this sling stud or this stuff to be hitting your pack. It moves, this next movement is always back to the center. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So we've got wind as well, which is kind of a bugger here, right? Is the wind blowing you quite a bit? Okay. So if you're aiming your rifle and the wind blows you completely off the critter, where did we just go in the shot control house? You gotta go back in the aiming room, right? You were forced back into the aiming room by something that you cannot control. So if your crosshairs get crazy and go way off the critter, you got to go back in the aiming room, unlock the door, open the door. Hey, keep it down in here. Then close the door again. You got to close the door again with another here I go. So that position is where you would get down, and you're actually going to cradle your elbow around your knee, right? So this rifle sits in this cradle here, just like that. And I'm grabbing onto my other forearm with this hand, and this is the position that I'm in. It's extremely stable. What's Doc's job? What's his job right now?
Slow.
Move that trigger slow enough he can stop it. Let the visual proprioception do its job there, Doc. I didn't hear it go ding.
I didn't either.
So put it 0 even before you shooting. Yep. High and right. So you always have a spot to come back. Too far right. Yep. High and right. Just hold on the left edge of it. Or I mean on the right edge of it. Copy that. Target. Yeah. Okay. Send it. Aim in the middle of it. Here we go. That's a hit. Here we go. Okay, so you hit left. Yeah, it's like left. Got it. Just over it.
I'm watching your trigger.
One target.
Send it. Buck of a lifetime, oh my God.
Here we
Shoot
go.
him! Shoot him! Get him!
Oh, yeah.
Feel that increase.
Nice.
Hey! Woo! Nice work, bud.
Ah, that feels good.
Good boy, Dean.
That's fun, man. Woo! Nice shoot.
Got rushed.
Who did you get rushed by?
Me.
You got rushed by you.
The target didn't care.
Yeah?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
So I was rushed. And I just
Okay.
I had it on. I was focused on the target.
Okay.
But the trigger action.
Did you say, here I go?
No, I think.
If you can't remember, that's a no.
Oh no, I didn't say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't say, here I go, there's no way to get present enough to concentrate, right? Come on, it's got big orange flags around it, buddy. Or one orange flag around it. Find it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be on here with you.
So as you can see, Joel did a great job of helping everybody with their shot and kind of teaching people along the way as we were hiking throughout the course, and just teaching us how to shoot with more precision. And he basically was teaching us that our mind works in a way where it constantly wants to be able to protect us from harm or protect us from anything that we know is coming, and we don't want to get hurt from it. So what he wanted us to learn and what he was teaching us was, when we pull that trigger on a rifle or on a bow, this week was rifle, so he was talking a lot about rifle, but usually people punch the trigger. So right when they know they're about to pull the trigger, they have some pre-ignition movements, and so their body naturally wants to just shell up and kind of brace for that impact of the gun. And while you do that, while you pull the trigger, your aim is gonna slightly like move, and you're gonna move a little bit before you pull that trigger, so you're not gonna have as accurate of a shot. So what he was teaching us to do was kind of use our brain to kind of bypass that and move our trigger super slowly in a way where every shot that goes off was a surprise shot. And he had us do that by kind of going through a process in our mind of step by step, like telling yourself, this is how the shot is gonna go, and I'm gonna pull this trigger as slowly as I can so that I can stop at any point while I'm pulling that trigger, and just keep pulling until it's finally a surprise shot. Because when it's a surprise shot, you don't know when that gun's gonna go off. And so you're not going to have any of those pre-ignition movements that kind of alters your aim. And he's super passionate about what he does, and you can tell that he's super into it and super like helpful with people. And Joel's just a great dude. It was awesome to be able to meet him for the 3 weeks that I was up there. But after we got done shooting the course, we came back down, and Birch Barrel was up there, and they cooked us some burgers and some brats, and everybody was able to just kind of hang out and mingle with each other. so that was super fun. And that was kind of, after that is when me and my dad left the next day in the morning. And so that was kind of all the film that I got from the first weekend, but there was obviously 3 more days of stuff that people went through, and there was a ton more stuff. Brian Barney showed up. They had him talk to the group about, you know, hunting mule deer and all the things that he knows. But that was it for the first weekend. So the second week was pretty similar to the first week, but it was a little different there was probably twice as many people there for the combo weekend, which is definitely the most popular weekend because you get knowledge on rifle and archery. But right when people were showing up, we had our axe throwing target out, and people started having, you know, a little competition between each other, and kept it super fun. It was a good icebreaker for some of the people to meet each other. We were giving out prizes, free spoons and hats and stuff for people who could stick it in the board. So that was super fun and super awesome for people to kind of have that time together.
Not extending your arm.
Oh, you're just going
But
like
Livesay does it like this, and I don't know what's right.
I do that.
So I don't know what's right, but that's how.
Yeah, that's hard not to move your arm.
It's just kind of the shoulder more than it is the arm. Real close. Ooh, that was good rotation.
Both at the same time.
These new tips he gave. Too much. First that's too little, not too much.
Oh!
There you go. There's the stick.
That would knock that person out though. That hit him like right square.
Never had too many spoons.
Keep going.
Yeah.
If I got those bolts to stick and you weren't filming that, I would have been pissed.
We got one camera on it. I got caught up in the middle.
Ah,
And them are sticking, but they don't stick.
they stick.
They both hit blade on,
We've
man.
had 5 guys stick them.
You got to get to that top corner.
Yeah, the top corner.
Top corner of the
One
blade.
Rotation, top corner. Okay.
Look at that. That's hitting full blade, buddy.
Full blade.
Oh, that was
Hitting
close.
full blade, man. I think this game is rigged.
Full blade. Here's how they have to hit. They have to come in and rotate just like that, and then just hit.
So I'm hitting like this, so I need to rotate a little bit more. Got it. Got it. Check it out. Rigged. Totally rigged.
So for the first night, people were kind of doing the same thing, kind of getting to know each other, kind of hanging out. And then the next day, which was Thursday, we started out with Joel Turner in the morning. So it was pretty similar to the first weekend. He was kind of teaching a big group about shot IQ and everything that he knows about that. And he had people shoot at the archery targets in front of the cabin. And it was super fun. He was helping people out. People were laughing. He was making jokes. Just a super live atmosphere with those people, and it was definitely super fun. You could definitely tell that there was an improvement with people in their shot and the confidence they had going into their shot after Joel was able to teach them to kind of go through those steps in their mind. So I'll play some of those clips, and you can kind of watch and see what the experience was like.
If you wanted to come out.
Here's what I want you folks to watch. Got to get on this side. Got to get on this side. Got to see Nick's trigger. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. Don't punch it. So screw up, Nick tells me that he's got problems in archery, right? How many of us here have problems in archery? Right? All hands go up. Yeah. Okay. So Nick, what is your plan? What's your plan? You got to hit that white thing at 40 yards. What's the plan?
Aim small, miss small.
Aim small, miss small. How many people have heard that before, right? Aim small, miss small. Could not be further from the truth. So today we're gonna dispel a lot of myths, a lot of rumors, all that stuff. This, what you learned today, is not my opinion, folks. This is the science of how your mind works and how it works against you. Okay? Jeremiah's working a thumb button. So tell me about that shot. What were you thinking about on that?
Thinking about trying to just pull through, but I was locked off target.
Locked off target.
I know, I'm nervous.
Like a dog crapping tax, buddy. Here we
I
go.
don't like being in front of people.
No kidding, huh?
Why do you think I go hunting?
Not many people do. Hunting by yourself too, right?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Watch that trigger, folks. Tried, right? You saw that he was trying, he was battling through it, but then at the last millimeter, you punched through it. Is that a normal shot for you?
It felt like a normal shot, but
Okay.
it didn't hit where I wanted to, so something was different.
Did it hit left or right?
Left.
Okay.
Left and high.
Okay. Cool. Anybody else shooting? Who else is shooting? Wyatt? Punched it at the very end.
I couldn't get out of the aiming room
Why?
because I was like,
The wind's blowing you all over the place.
yeah,
Perfect. Better concentration practice, right?
it's practice.
Because right now, remember I told you can go back in the aiming room with big wind? Not yet, right? You're using the wind for concentration practice. Did you see that thing going all over the place? Better reps to disregard it. Come on. Come on. Woo! Now that was a real one, right?
Nice.
So you've got this trigger set room.
So after Joel, we had lunch again in the middle of the day, and the food that they had for us was super good every single day. It was kind of luxury living out there at the summit, but I'm super grateful, and I know all of us were super grateful for Hillary and the people that were around her, kind of providing for everyone and cooking us food, and just the hospitality that was there was unmatched, and it was so awesome, and it made the experience just that much more enjoyable. But after lunch was one of my favorite parts of this weekend, and maybe all the weekends, and it was sitting down. We were watching Ryan Lampers go through his pack and kind of showing us everything that he has in his pack and what he takes with him and what he needs, what he uses certain things for, whether he's doing a 4 or 5 day hunt or a 10 to 12 day hunt. Basically everything that he goes through, a bunch of the equipment that he uses and everything. So just Ryan's an awesome dude. I always like to call him the apex predator, the guy who can kill anything. Just so knowledgeable, been hunting for so long, and somebody who's fairly new like me. Like being around him is just so valuable, and you can gather so much knowledge from a guy like him, and it's super helpful. So yeah, he showed us a bunch of stuff that was in his pack and kind of gave us some tips on how to hunt certain things, and just a straight cheat code in the mountains. Like he's awesome. So you guys can watch some of those clips as well.
Bears at a distance. Without that 5-pound piece of gear, we can see them, but we just can't get to them. And most guys, 99% of the guys, how often do you guys see somebody with a pack wrap on the back of their pack hiking in somewhere? It's pretty rare. It's really rare. So that's one of the things that's got us some separation from the masses. Spring bear is one of those hunts as well where it's not like there's an overcrowding issue out there. There's not a ton of guys. I feel like more guys are getting into it now, but we still want to get away. I feel like we're not getting the adventure we want unless we're so far away from those roads, going to places where they grow old and die. That's the motto. Go to places where the animals just grow old and die. My uncle told me that phrase a long time ago. It stuck. It just reminds me of I need to get to places where people aren't looking. So I've been running this alpaca wrap. Like I said, it's 5 pounds, 3 ounces. It's definitely a weight investment to your pack, but it just For example, that wolf that I killed this year, I'd have never got that wolf without this. He was on the opposite side of the river. There's 1,000 feet decline. There's a 1,500 feet incline on the other side, elevation-wise, and there's a river at the bottom. And so without this, we would have never even got ourselves up.
Stabilizers. I give up now that I know what I'm doing. Now that I've been enlightened, I would give up the glass for the stability any day of the week. I should be getting paid for all that.
I was gonna say, do you get commission?
I should have bought a trunk full of them and brought them here. I could have probably bought
Is SIG the only outfit making that?
Yeah, they are. So there used to be Canon makes in the stabilizer business. And it's more for the bird watching group.
Probably a little heavier.
They've never made it, they've never dipped that into, it's never been advertised in a hunt space.
Probably by
Canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might just be whoever owns Canon doesn't want to put it there, but that's the only other company. Now Zeiss had them, 15 years ago, but they just weren't that great. I tried them back then, and they were clunky, they were real heavy. It wasn't on a battery system, and they just didn't stabilize as well. They go in and out, in and out, in and out. So right now, it seems like SIG's crushed it with those electro binoculars. My guess is, now that they've come out with them in the hunt space, every other company is doing it. Because it's not even a close contest. If you want to outbeat your buddy, just get there. That's all I have to say about that. Mark had an instance where he dropped his non-stabilizing, and he's happy he did. Because that made him buy new ones. And now he's got them.
Well, and it made Ryan share his with me. Because he was not going to before that happened. And then he made me suffer for like 3 days before he did.
Well, the plan was, not sharing until the bear that we wanted dead was dead. He couldn't take it out from under us. So I'm just going to get into the pack here. Pretty much have these gators on every trip. These are the ones by Peaks. Most of you guys probably got these in the gear pack. These things are solid. For guys that have done this a long time, there's a lot of cruddy gators out there, right? Probably blown through quite a few pairs of reputable brand gators as well. They just don't last. I have beat the crud out of these things, and they're great. So, highly recommend those. Embrace is sitting right there. So, sleeping bag.
So for the second weekend, that was all I had as far as film. I kind of wanted to enjoy the later part of the day. Birch Barrel came out again and made us some amazing food, and a lot of the guys there, we were just kind of hanging out and talking hunting and sharing stories. Mark Livesey is an expert storyteller, and he's super entertaining, and it was just cool to be out there with those guys, man. And I'm super thankful for the opportunity and the experience, and I'm definitely looking forward to next year. So that was weekend 2, which was the rifle and archery weekend, and then the weekend 3 was just archery. So that's it was one of my favorite weekends. Probably my favorite weekend was the last weekend. I didn't take any film that weekend because I really just wanted to be able to focus in and gather as much knowledge as I could, and kind of be present with all the presenters and listening to Lampers and Brian Barney and Mark Livesey talk about e-scouting, and just wanted to kind of get some knowledge for myself while I'm out in the mountains, and kind of just enjoy the experience of being there the last weekend. I met up with my buddy Ishmael, who came to the summit this year, and it was super fun to hang out with him. And the second day we were shooting the course, the archery course, which was no joke. It was 22 targets. I think it was about 4.5 miles round trip, and the last target was a 98-yard shot across the pond, which was super fun to take. And we were stacking pins like crazy, and it was super fun. We got some group pictures at the end, and ate an awesome dinner with Birch Barrel again that night, and it was just super fun. So the Western Hunting Summit this year was something that was you know, I didn't know what to expect going into it, but the way that Ryan Lamper set that thing up with the help of, you know, his wife Hillary and everyone else who helped set up with him, and it was an experience that I've never had, and all the knowledge that I gathered and the people that I met was just so awesome. And it's super fun to kind of see that community all come together and share stories and kind of be so involved with it and talk gear and talk like animals, and it's sweet for someone who's fairly new to it like me. So yeah, that's pretty much a recap of the summit. Next year I'm going to try to get a lot more footage and show you guys, kind of probably be there multiple or more days every weekend, and kind of show you guys everything that goes down at the summit. But to get the full experience, it's something that you guys really have to make the trip out for and come out for. So if you can come next year, the spots fill up super quick. Get your spot, it's well worth it. We had guys coming from the east side of the country. We had Kentucky, we had some Georgia, Alabama. It's an awesome experience. So that's a recap for the 2021 Western Hunting Summit, and thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing down below. It supports the channel, and I'm gonna try to keep coming out with videos for you guys. And hunting season is coming up, so stay tuned for some big announcements with that, and we'll see you guys in the next video.